Whatever Dan Dunn brings in today, it will be a booster shot for whatever Adam drank last night. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice. They're going to mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And Bald Brian.
Still motherfucking here.
Oh, do you miss Andy Dick?
I heard a lot. I'm saving it for my evening off.
He's still in the parking lot.
Yeah, I heard.
You can set your watch by crazy. And,
ironically, you think it's erratic, but it's actually
it's
quite
not.
reliable.
People think there's a lot of different kinds of crazy,
There's
but they have a lot of the same traits. Like I said to Chris, I was talking about yesterday, crazy doesn't show up alone. You show up with a group of people. And then at some point, you want someone from the group to come on the air. That's what crazy people do. They do it every single time. That's how they do it. Bryan Cranston shows up alone.
Right.
Andy Dick shows up with 4 people.
With a team.
And then they want to get one of them on the air. That's number 1.
The big guy.
Number 2, they always have their phone, and there's always something going on with the phone.
Obviously, the obligatory forget to set it silent.
Or your dealer's waiting out by the gate, no one will let him in.
There's that. It's just something's going to happen with the phone. That much I can tell you. There's just certain beats that will always be hit.
On the bingo card of crazy, forget to silence phone is the center square, is the free one.
Because like Chris, how often if someone is booked to come in on the show, do I go, oh, he's going to show up with a bunch of people and try to get one of them on the air?
I can't. That's never happened. I can't remember the last time that's happened. It's been so long, but you did totally call that, and you're already complaining about it. He's pre-complaining about it.
I'll never forget when Dennis Hoff was in for one of his many appearances, and you said, you know what? Ron Jeremy has to stay out on the couch. He's not coming in today.
Yeah. Ron wishes he was on that couch
today.
Well, Ron's look. I feel sorry for his cellmate because that man had a musk.
Yeah,
about
pungent.
him,
and that's when he had options to bathe.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, I had this thing happen on PCH today. I don't know. I always think, for me, I understand the parts of life where there's like too many cars and not enough lanes and traffic.
Yeah.
I understand that. I don't understand the part where we don't have a basic grasp of rules and traffic and things. Now, for me, it's always the right turn. It's turn. It's red. Yeah, okay, stop. No one's coming.
No one's coming.
Now turn. The other one I realized that most people don't have a handle on in this city. Now, this city is unique in that a lot of people here aren't from here.
Right.
And I'm not talking about parts of Iowa. I'm talking about parts of Cambodia.
That's true.
And and a lot of guys driving around the city not fully insured or vaxxed.
You're also talking about an area that's a heavily tourist-heavy area, so you're getting a lot
of herds
out of town.
Yes, but the out-of-town guy from Virginia is still fully insured and may know the rules of the road.
And terrified, like not being cocky about it, like really wants to try.
I'm talking about a lot of people from a lot of impoverished nations south of our border.
They'd rather not have any questions asked.
They don't want to get pulled over. And so the other one we haven't figured out. We haven't figured out the ride on a red. We haven't figured out the blinking red.
Oh.
They stop and the light is blinking and you're honking the horn and they're going, it's a red light. It's like, it's a blinking red light. You may go. It's like, I'm not going because there's a red light and it's blinking and I don't want to take any chances.
Right.
I get pulled over, I'm going to lose my truck.
Right.
So the blinking red, it seems like these are, my daughter just took her driver's ed test.
And?
Failed by 2.
Yes! That means she's a good driver.
I guess 2, I guess she got 10 wrong and she could have gotten 8 wrong and made it out of, 48 questions.
It's probably because you coached her up about these things. It's not what they say on the test.
I taught traffic school, but I can't remember any of the rules.
Miss Carolla, weak pussies has no business on this test.
Right.
Chicken shit what now?
So we could coach people up on certain things, like blinking red
Sure.
means go, and it means stop and then go, or red on the right means stop and then go when it. We could coach people up and
Adam,
move things
no,
along.
that would require an elaborate system of digital billboards all across the
That's
LA
right,
freeway
right.
system. Oh.
Right. I saw
Click it.
this morning driving drunk / high
Oh.
get a DUI.
Oh, because
So
it
they-
rhymes.
Yeah, they're putting they're lumping the heshers in. So I was at the Rams game, and there's something I forgot to tell you guys about, but it all rushed in the form of a memory when I was watching TMZ the next day.
A recovered memory from 24 hours the next day.
That's right. I recovered a memory from probably 19 hours earlier. It was Travis Scott had the suite next to him have a sewage spill.
Oh, boy.
A thing broke.
Goo.
Bad
and-
times.
And I was sitting in the corner of the stadium. There was about 3 minutes left in the game and got a big time shot of sewage.
Yeah. Like a
Because
whiff.
I was up above. And I was like, this is super pungent. Like, where did this
Sonny, you
where did
okay?
this come from? And it was, I couldn't figure out where it emanated
Yeah.
from. The stadium is brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they have a sewage?
It wasn't sulfur
like-
that you smelled. It was full on like the nasty.
Oh, there's a cleaning crew.
No, I can see it. I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to nail down
Right.
this
I
scent.
didn't know what it was.
You weren't by the tar pits.
It smelled like sewage, straight up sewage with just a few minutes left in the game. And I was like,
It's the Cardinals.
I don't know where. Yeah,
The Cardinals been.
it's their pass offense. And I was like, what? And then I realized I was sitting up above where the sewage thing happened, but also it's a brand new stadium.
Yeah. What
So-
happened?
This seems interesting. Anyway,
Unless this is a cherry bomb in the toilet high school prank situation.
I wonder, not for me, but
hope
maybe for Travis Scott, if you paid a whole shitload of money for tickets and there's
Yeah.
a sewage thing next to your suite where you're trying to enjoy a cocktail and some finger foods, I don't
might
know,
get
could you
some
get your
comp
money
airline
back?
miles.
Yeah, that's refundable.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about was, Matt, a couple things. Matt, the porcelain Punisher, ironically, Fondelier, showed me a picture from his street, which is they're posting all these signs in the middle of the street about kids at play. My take,
Oh.
slow down for a safer community.
I've seen versions of these.
And they're all masked.
They're all masked.
Yeah, you're
all
right. Look at that.
So a couple
Wow.
thoughts. A, they're in the middle of the street.
Or gagged and bound.
That's right.
All
Getting
right.
chloroformed.
So the only places I have ever seen the signs for kids at play and slow down were nice-ish neighborhoods where no kids were ever at play in the
Right.
street because they have a half-court basketball
Right.
hoop in their backyard.
I see.
Or they're wherever they're playing laser tag down in Glendale
They're
at the
tucked away in a
place.
cul-de-sac.
Yeah, when
The-
those times like kids playing in the street.
Yeah.
The shitty communities that do have the kids out in the street never
No
have the
signs.
sign. Zero sign. So it's moot, but they're masked up.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't
Sign
want
of the
your
times.
kids masked up playing outside, you fucking retards. This is all right. I get it. There's a bunch of idiots that want kids masked up all the time. Fine. There's no signs. It doesn't work. Good. Torture the kids. Fucking have fun. Just bring them to school, mask them up, torture them, fucking get them thrown off an airplane. Get a 2-year-old thrown off an airplane because they can't keep their mask up. Fine. Go to town. Ruin the kids. Fine. But masking up outdoors when you're playing and the sign is only for people that are outdoors.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then, by the way, you think the masks are ever going to come off of the figurines?
No.
Oh, that's forever.
That's
That's
to
forever.
stay.
That's
so
from now on.
this is it. No one thought about the wisdom of A, you don't need masks outdoors. B, kids don't need masks. And then C, this shall be the message. This will be the new world order.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it because they were talking about, I was doing a show where they're talking about China. China's like Orwellian. So they have like a zero COVID policy and they have drones like flying in the
really?
street, like saying, people go
Investigating?
back to your home.
Oh, I see.
Like a loudspeaker,
That's
go back to your
dystopian.
home.
Yeah.
Stay in, lock down. And I was thinking about it. I was like, God damn, dystopian, right? China, yeah. And then I started thinking about Sweden. Sweden was open. China's locked down. And you go, God damn, China, what a dystopian piece of shit China is. California basically went the China route. We had Sweden and we had China, and we tacked toward China.
There was a fork in the road.
In terms of our approach.
Yeah.
So when we look at China, we go, well, this is dystopian bullshit. We did China light over here. Sounds like something you should put in your coffee.
Yeah, seriously. MSG half.
Half
as much.
Other thing, and look, I can't be the first person to think of this. This must exist. But there's a lot of like rap names out there, and you got your Commons and your Travis Scotts and your stuff like that, Jay-Z's and stuff. Has anyone used the name Rap Sheet? Because that's strong.
It's on the nose, but yeah.
It's on the nose,
not
but
bad.
it's strong.
Yeah.
It's either you got to call yourself Rap Sheet, or you got to name the album Rap Sheet.
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
Well,
Where do we go?
I'd go the R-A-P.
Okay. Yeah.
That's me.
That's just you.
That's just me.
On that note, I was listening to a news thing today about Novak Djokovic and the whole Australian thing. Has nobody called him Novak's Djokovic yet? Has the New York Post not come up with that headline?
Like a Guardian headline.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
so
New York
good.
Post headline. Thank you. Have we not done
a lot
that?
of time in your hands.
I've been making salami roses. They're outside.
Puns and salami roses.
Good name for Cheese V.
That's right. Thank you.
DMX had an album called The Rap Sheet in 2002.
There we
go.
go. Okay, good.
But has there ever been a rapper called Rap Sheet?
Not till now.
DMX died, right?
You did? Semi-recently.
Oh, yeah, there was that big Staples crypto arena thing
Oh, right.
with the kids rapping.
Yeah, and then also some other notables have died recently. I think we've given up the in threes thing. We just go, people die every 9 days.
Yeah. Well, it always happens in eights.
Yeah, that doesn't
you've
happen
heard
in
of.
threes anymore.
Right.
No.
Right. All right. Let's see. What else did I have? Oh, so also at the Rams game, the poor cheerleaders are masked up.
What?
Oh, yeah. They're masked up the whole time.
The Laker girls aren't even masked, and that's inside.
They're masked up. The mascot, Scott the
mascot.
Mask
Oh,
Scott
that is
masked up.
amazing.
No one in the stands is masked up, but everyone who has any kind of official capacity is masked up.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. So now the mascot can't breathe or see because they see through the mouths.
I thought you see through. Yeah, you see
That's a
through the
good
mouth
point,
traditionally.
Oh, shit.
So they're
That's
masked
a comically
up,
large mouth.
and then
diaper.
They do this thing 10 times a game where they're like, the big jumbotron fires up when it's 3rd and 7, and Phoenix. No, sorry,
Go on.
The Cardinals. God, where are they from? Anyway, they have the ball. Arizona.
let you work this one out.
Arizona Cardinals have the ball. Yeah, they have the ball.
Oh.
Listen, you're lucky I'm not saying St. Louis.
I was going to say.
So they do a big thing on the Jumbotron. I mean, the mascot is masked up and the cheerleaders are masked up, but the big thing comes on the Jumbotron and it goes, make some noise. And everyone who's in the stadium without their mask starts screaming, woo!
Yeah. Projecting.
So I don't know what the science.
It's confusing.
Not sure about the science here and the make some noise with nobody wearing a mask in the stands, but
spit all over your seat, mate.
yes.
It's an outdoor stadium, technically.
Yeah, it is. Let's see. Don't let. Oh yeah, the sign, the freeway sign said, "Don't let drunk or high drive."
What?
Don't let.
It's really confusing.
These are not English.
Yeah, that's
speakers.
what
I was going to say, as a first language.
I remember thinking it was kind of confusing at the time. I think I cleaned it up in my head and gave it a little rhythm, but
You punched it up?
You did.
Yes.
You said drunk or high, get a DUI.
yeah, I think
You must have
I
quit.
could have got a job there. But yeah, it literally says, "Don't let drunk or high drive."
We're missing some very important.
Well, but
Nouns.
consider their audience. You know what I mean? It probably makes sense to
Oh,
most
yeah. It ran overnight.
most of the non-English speakers on the 10. All right. Louie Anderson, the great Louie Anderson, passed away. Louie is a he had an interesting career, right?
A long career.
And a long career.
Yeah.
What was he, 68?
Yeah.
Chris?
That's what I
68.
saw.
Louie was on the show back in 2018, and Chris cobbled together. Is it that part where he's talking about having 11 brothers and sisters or 10 brothers and sisters?
No, but we should mention that he's the second youngest of 11 kids. His mom actually had 16 births. 5 of them died at birth.
Oy.
Really abusive father. So this is a clip of him just talking about how his spirits stay so high.
So, Louie, your spirits seem good.
Yeah, I'm great.
You seem like you're in a good place.
I am.
And you haven't always been in a good place.
No. I mean, I come from a depressed family. I'm a compulsive eater. I'm a compulsive overeater, really. And so I've worked really hard on that. I've lost, a chunk of weight. I don't talk about pounds because it's destructive,
Sure.
to start that. But and I don't do, any kind of drugs or, alcohol that can, I just don't do any of that. I think I've just kind of got through a lot of stuff because I think these books helped me quite a bit.
Hey, Mom. Name of the book. Sorry, go ahead.
Dear Dad was the book I gave to Evil, which is weird to call him evil, by the way.
Right.
When you're just talking to him, listen, evil. It just doesn't make it,
Evil
and I gave him that book, and he later reconnected with Robbie and thanked me for that. And that was one of my best things about writing a book, is that the fact that Evel Knievel read that book about my dad and forgave and said, I better reconnect with my son. And I just love that kind of stuff. My thing was mostly I was taking all the stuff that my dad piled on me and all that kind of stuff, and I took it too personal. And so I had to work really hard to get past that stuff because it was, somewhat traumatic to me, that he would kick my door in at 3 a.m. and say, Lardass, get up and do some exercise.
Really?
And then I built a character out of being kind of a fat comic. I had a lot of fat jokes in the early days. And then there's a dichotomy there. Do you lose weight? And then when you lose weight, people always say, and I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but people always say, if you lose all your weight, it won't be funny anymore.
Yeah.
And I understand their thinking. I understand their thinking, but it always is, it still is, it's just, it's kind of a kick in the gut. You choose the place you're sitting in. If you choose to be depressed, you'll be depressed. You have to, like somebody says, oh, I feel like I'm laying in a swamp. Well, if you stood up, the swamp's only up to your ankles.
Right.
So, I think it's about making a decision and working really hard at getting.
All right.
We get it.
Well, got a little short, but there he is.
Fitting tribute.
Louie Anderson.
Remember, he did Vegas with us, too.
I was just messaging Chris just to ask, do we know how many times he was on our show total?
He was on twice. He's once on stage with us live at the Hard Rock in Vegas in 2015, and then he was on in studio in 2018.
Yeah, ups and downs, but a nice guy, gentle guy, always a fun guest.
Yeah, and people like, Whitman, who does a great Louie impression from The Feud. We all think of the Family Feud and stuff, but there's Life with Louie, but also very underrated Baskets. He played the mom on Baskets with Zach Galifianakis. Very interesting career.
Who are all these dads? I mean, you talk to these people all the time where it's like the dad kicking in the door, the dad's showing up drunk, and it's like, what the fuck? What's going on? I
you
think
should do a heel turn to try that.
I think it's a bygone era.
It'd be nice.
Dads learn from their dads, and that's a generation probably whose dads got back from World War II and only knew, military, life and
terrorizing your kids is a weird impulse.
Yeah.
I'm assuming now there's just dads aren't sticking around and raising their kids, so by hook or by crook, at least they're out of the house. You know what I mean?
Pick your poison.
But the crazy abusiveness of the dads, once you have kids, it becomes bizarre to think about terrorizing kids.
My first thought would be, then don't have kids, but maybe that's why some people have kids to pass it down.
Well, it also seems like it just seems like a bad life strategy because you're going to want those kids to have some fondness for you and possibly even a sense of obligation.
That's it.
So later on,
You need to be taken care of.
when the insurance isn't going to cover the nursing home,
Right.
but you need to be moved.
And son 10 out of 11 is on TV.
Yeah, you don't want to go to county.
Grateful son reaches into his pocket.
That's right.
You kind of want to set the table for that.
There's no way to know, but do you think dads like this would have been different if they had, say, 1 or 2 kids as opposed to 11? That is a very stressful life. Now, probably they're predisposed to this behavior, but do you think it would have been mitigated?
Well, we talked to Daryl Hammond,
That's right,
and he had a sister and maybe a brother or something.
No,
or
just a
maybe-
sister,
It
think.
was the mom who was nuts.
Well, the dad was an alcoholic and not super nice,
Right,
but
but the
he
mom
wasn't
was-
a masochist.
Yeah, she was crazy.
I think it's in you or it's not. You can either abuse your 11 kids, but obviously you're going to spread it out.
Yeah.
There's only so many hours in a day, or you can abuse your only child. But it's curious to me why there's so much of that.
Yeah.
When you have kids, you just go, I want to do what's best for them. And then also, you want to sort of have a good time with them. Like you want to, you want to, fuck around, joke around, make them feel safe. And it's just it's a weird impulse.
Nurture their talents.
I never get that. I never get why parents are that way, but all right. I came up the other day when I was doing Ace on the House. We'll just say California or the San Fernando Valley, just for the sake of argument. What is the worst year? If you bought a house,
Oh, boy.
what would be the worst year that house was built in?
You're talking design-wise?
Yeah, everything.
Sorry, okay. Like
And if
from the
you bought,
investment standpoint?
no, not
Okay, that's what I
no
was-
money. Worst year for your house to be built, and that same number will apply to your car.
Oh. See, I feel like I have an advantage because have had some time on my hands. And I've spent a fair amount of hours on Redfin and Zillow.
Yeah, Gina might have some insight on this.
For the San Fernando Valley. But it's got to be somewhere between 1969 and 1972. I mean, they are, there's for some reason windowless in front a lot with like a weird window on the top. They're horrible.
Well, those are added on.
The windows?
The windowlessness.
Oh, really?
That's them.
Who would choose that?
Because somebody buys a house, sorry, I have a cough.
Easy, buddy.
I know. Somebody buys a house in the San Fernando Valley for $1.3 million, and it's 1,900 square feet, and they want a master suite, so they put it on top.
But can't they add a window?
They should have, but they don't.
Perhaps they should.
Then I'll just split the difference. I'll say 1970.
All right, it's good offering, Brian. We got to think about the car too.
Yeah, that I don't know so
car's
much
gotta be
about.
the worst
the
car.
car means I would not choose the 60s. I don't even know what a mid-70s house would look like. Like,
Lucky
is that
man.
a thing? But like the mid-70s cars are pretty crappy. So, but this 80s looks so dated on both the cars and I'll go mid to late 75 to 79.
You guys are right in there.
year I
The
wouldn't
correct
want.
answer is 1974.
Oh,
so close.
specifically.
That is the worst car year you could get. There was no Japanese offerings back then. If you could afford a Mercedes, fine. But this is America's at its bottom.
Right.
But even like
and
the nice-
architecture's at its bottom in 74.
Wasn't the cliche like you need 2 of those, one for repairs and one for parts, one to drive?
Yeah, foreign
For like
cars.
for the BMWs and
Yeah,
Mercedes.
we did. It was a funny era. We stumbled onto flat roofs and slabs.
Yes.
All right. So they built all these houses in the late 60s, early 70s, and they went, well, it's a fuck of a lot easier just to pour a slab and build it on top of the slab, and it's a lot easier just to put a flat roof on it. So they did that. That was fine. But then 7 years later, cable TV came around, and there's no
account for
place
that.
to run coax.
Yeah.
Because coax is, you can run it underneath in the subflooring if you can, in the crawl space, but there is no crawl space.
Right.
It's on slab. Or you can go up top, pull it through the attic and drop it down. So now you see all the coax stuck on the outside of the
For
stucco
all
that
to
they
see.
painted, splintering off, going into the different rooms.
You see an apartment, the small apartment complexes. I'm sure
Indeed.
Gina and I have seen dozens of these in the apartments we lived in, just going from one to the other,
Yep.
to the other, all
Very
a
familiar.
network, a web.
I think you can judge a society by how much wiring is external. Because when you go to some of these shitty little towns in South America or
Malibu.
Guadalajara or something like that, you'll see tons and tons of
Yeah.
shit running along the outside of the house.
Jerry rigged.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for using the word Jerry.
Jerry.
All right. One last thing.
Wait, sorry, when was the humble melon farmer? What year was that, the commercial?
Mr. Majestic?
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
That
Yes,
is.
you do.
Oh.
Yeah. Mr.
Is it
Majestic
Bronson?
is Charles Bronson is Mr. Majestic.
Yeah.
And that was probably 1974.
Because that's the first thing that came to mind when you said 1974.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What year was Mr. Majestic?
1974.
All
Whoa!
right.
Is that the truck commercial we've seen a few
Yes,
times?
you've
Okay.
well, yeah.
Yes.
You've seen it.
Why is that movie called Mr. Majestic?
There's nothing
His
majestic
name
about
was Larry
him.
Majestic.
His name was Vince Majestic.
Ah!
Come on. Vinny Majestic.
He was a humble melon farmer,
Right.
but they fucked with him.
Yeah.
And now
One too
he's
many
out for
times.
revenge.
Yeah.
Went too far.
And there was a Ford F-150 commercial.
Right.
We can
That's right.
probably find it, which is
I remember now.
interesting because I was listening to a Subaru commercial this morning, and all they were talking about was love and donating and working with and thank you and
You're
blah,
welcome.
blah, blah. And then I passed the Subaru yesterday and took a picture. It's got the badges
Oh, I'm so glad I
about
don't know.
first year,
Yeah,
Subaru owner,
sure.
dog owner, LGBT, whatever.
Oh, the whole vibe.
You earn badges.
That's what those are for? I've had 4 of these and never been offered a badge.
Subaru
Yeah,
Crosstrek.
the badge.
So
Oh my
what are
God.
the categories? You got the gay category.
Yeah, so
You got the
get
dog
up to-
category.
you get
Is
up
your
to
dog
5.
gay, or is that are those separate categories?
Well, you could choose up to 5 badges. So it's the first Subaru, and then you loves animals, loves love,
Oh.
pride,
Love is love.
environment, and road trips.
Oh, how nice.
I got to get some of these.
You got to get your badges.
I got to get all of them.
I got to ask this question now because I was thinking about it and there's nowhere to go, but you might know the answer or might at least have perspective. If you were to do some true, let's even say emergency off-roading, like, the roads are closed, it's a storm, you got to get somewhere. Rank what car you'd rather have, the Range Rover, the Jeep, or the Subaru. And of course, there's different models. I understand that, but take
I
your
think
pick.
probably pure off road. You'd go Jeep. Range Rover's pretty good. Subaru, they're all gonna work, but Subaru would be probably the bottom for just the true off road.
Okay. I don't mean tearing it up. I mean like the storm's coming. and we
Gina's
gotta
trying to get to Big Bear.
I think you go Jeep and then you'd go Range Rover, but
There's some good ones.
That's the
You love
list.
family. You love kayaking.
Yeah,
Education.
it
yoga.
was a bigger thought, which is
Birdwatch.
a lot of badging in general. Like I gave blood, I voted, I like rainbows, I have a dog. We didn't feel like we had when I was growing up on your car, the back would say, "Beam me up, Scotty."
That's right.
Or every once in a while, back by popular demand.
Sure.
Or some version of that, but
Right.
it wasn't so much like here's what I'm into.
Sure.
It was
Yeah.
it was
This is who I
it was
am.
jokes.
Yeah.
It was a I mean, maybe you like Star Trek, so it said beam me up, Scotty.
Right.
But
I blame Sports Chalet.
oh yeah.
Yeah, the frames. Yeah, I'd rather be skiing.
Oh right,
Yeah.
right. There's just a lot of here's what I'm into.
Yes.
In general, which is to me speaks of a overarching narcissism
Yes.
of luck. You got a dog. I got a dog. You got a family. I got a family. You like love, fine. We'll agree to disagree. you like outdoor driving, or you like road trips. Like it's
Generally
like
outdoor.
this is basic shit. This is it's like saying I like quesadillas. Everyone likes quesadillas, douche.
You're
Yeah.
not separating yourself.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
There's nothing
Yes,
interesting
You
about
believe in the environment. You believe in love. You believe in okay, great,
get it.
hero. It's weird. It's a weird one.
I gotta get these.
I love
You
my
gotta.
dog.
I'll let
gotta
you
get-
guys pick
yeah,
'em.
You love your dog. Everyone loves their dog. All right, let's see. Tom Green is waiting for us, so let me hit concrete. Concrete, man. Creatine is clinically proven to not just power muscles, but also T cells, which are key to good health. First, they're the first responders to your immune system. Concrete, patented creatine, HCl is the number one oh, God, what is this for? Bioavailable, Chris? Bioavailable.
Let me check.
Yeah, all right. I'll try to do it. HCl is the number one bioavailable creatine. All the strength and endurance benefits of creatine without the negative side effects like cramps or diarrhea. It's the only creatine females should use because they don't do the bloat and the water retention. Your body only makes about half the creatine it needs, and you need to get the other half from diet or supplements, and most folks don't get it that way. Drew swears by this stuff. I swear by this stuff. You can start the New Year's off right, burn some calories, help your workouts, get some concrete creatine. Right, Dawson?
Optimize your health and fitness, both body and mind. Build a better you with Concrete. And if you register now at concrete.com/podcast, you can win a free membership to Planet Fitness for an entire year, plus a $500 Walmart Visa gift card. That's con-cret.com/podcast to be one of multiple winners. And Concrete is now available online and in-store at Walmart. Concrete is truly changing fitness and health.
All right, quick break. Back with Tom Green from Canada right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
So, Adam, I'm listening to your show right now, and you're talking about pitches for horror movies that with bad premises, like going for the Leprechaun. And then you said, farcically, how about a movie called Llama? Well, guess what, Adam? 2015, Llamageddon. Yes, look it up on IMDb. It's about a crazy, demonic llama. No kidding.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Jesus. Well, we will look it up. We'll do our due diligence. Tom Green is joining us from Canada. You can check out his YouTube channel, Tom Green, website tomgreen.com. Tom, good to speak to you again, my friend.
How are you, Adam? How are you? Great to see you. And awesome. Yeah, it's freezing up here. It's minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill of minus 40.
Wow.
I'm doing the weather now. Yeah.
What motivated you to go back to Canada? I know that's where you hail from, but.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I actually moved back to Canada. I sold my house in Los Angeles after 20 years, the house that you used to come up to all the time and give me carpentry tips for my bleachers on my web show up there. I wanted to be closer to my family. My family's still up here, and I was just kind of during COVID and everything that's been going on, I just kind of wanted to be a little closer to home. So I moved back to Canada. I'm out in the country too. I didn't move back to the city. I'm out in the middle of the wilderness, essentially. So.
What's the schedule when you're out in the middle of the wilderness?
Wow, it's nice. I get up in the morning, I make a cup of coffee, I check my email. It's exactly the same, actually. That's the thing, we're so connected now digitally. The last year and a half, I got this van and I was driving around the desert and I was doing a lot of filming and podcasting and all the same stuff that I like to do. And I just occurred to me that I could probably do that from anywhere. I didn't have to live in Los Angeles anymore and I had nothing holding me down. So I moved up here, but it's a really beautiful environment. It's really peaceful here. I've got a wolf pack, literally a pack of wolves living on the property here that I've been photographing. And it's wild. It's really fun.
What's it do for your sort of mindset headspace? Because I've really been drilling down on this with COVID, especially. Like, people need to get outdoors. They need to be with nature. They need to get in the ocean. They need to walk through the snow. They need to take a hike. Like, I think we're underestimating how important that is to your stability emotionally, and your psyche, and how has it changed for you in a positive way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's a big part of it, really, Adam. I mean, I get up in the morning, I take a long walk through a forest right here, and down to a lake, and it's just fresh air, and I'm getting a lot more exercise, and I like doing photography, and I love wildlife and fishing. I was ice fishing last week, so I was out with my neighbor who's lived here his whole life and has a ice fishing shack out on a frozen lake, and we're drilling a hole in the ice and catching northern pike and drinking some beers. So it's a really, really nice for your mental health, I would say, for sure. Yeah.
So you started doing stand-up early, like 15, right? In Canada.
Yeah. Probably 15 or 16. Yeah. I kind of, something like that. Yeah. When I was in high school at Yuck Yucks in Ottawa.
How did the MTV show come about?
That wasn't for about 10 years later. I did stand up for a while as a teenager, and then probably I was around 20, probably about 27 or 28 years old. But I started the show up on public access up here in Canada, and was discovered by our late, great, legendary friend and manager Howard Lapidus, who I miss very much. But he found the show up here in Canada and brought us to MTV when you and Dr. Drew were doing Loveline. So, I think that was kind of how we kind of weaseled our way in there through Howard and his connection with you. So that was pretty cool.
I got a quick Howard Lapidus story. Just reminded.
Keep in mind the man's dead.
Yes, it reminded me of. But Howard, he could tell a story. Mm-hmm. He liked to wax on a little bit.
Sure.
And I don't know. Have you worked with Ivan Reitman?
I did. He produced Road Trip, the movie Road Trip.
That's
and,
right.
Directed a few scenes with me in it as well. So yeah. Ivan
was he didn't suffer fools. I guess he was busy. He was a very direct guy.
Sure.
I know because when I was working on a movie with him and Jimmy, he yelled at us in his own home like a couple of times. Like he just, he said, I want to change this and change that and whatever. And we came back up. He lived out Santa Barbara.
Montecito. Oh.
Yeah, right. We went out there like the next week. We didn't change enough of the stuff. And he just went, hey, you're fucking wasting my time. What are you two doing? What I tell you? So it was me and Jimmy and Howard and Ivan Reitman, and we were having breakfast at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And Howard, he was like I said, he liked to tell a story. And Reitman didn't want to hear a story.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
And
good combo.
Reitman is just one of these guys where he's on the clock all the time. It's like, busy. Let's go. Let's figure this out. And Howard was enjoying his eggs and telling the story about skiing barefoot in Canada back in the day or something. After about minute 18 of the story, Ivan Reitman at the table just yelled at him, shut up.
Oh, my
Just
God.
shut up. Just stop talking. Just stop talking, which was uncomfortable for Howard, but probably more uncomfortable for me and Jimmy, who were just sitting there. And Reitman, I don't know if you have any, Reitman stories, but he was a pretty direct dude. And
he was, because obviously Ivan Reitman's Canadian legend, director of Ghostbusters, and was the producer of the movie Road Trip, which Todd Phillips was directing. It was his first sort of major feature film before he went on to become the biggest director in the world or whatever. But, so Ivan was directing Second Unit one day, and we did some scenes together, which was intimidating. But, I never had that experience with him. He was always pretty nice to me, luckily. But Howard was a legend. I mean, he discovered a lot of great Canadian comedians, Norm Macdonald and Harland Williams and others, and brought them down into the U.S. So it was pretty cool to work with him.
He was he managed Jimmy, managed me, managed Dr. Drew, he managed Carson Daly, Tom Green.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the list goes on and on.
Yeah. So this is my dog, Charlie, by the way. Oh. Charlie is a pot cake dog. She's sleeping right now, but she's a rescue from the Bahamas. And so she left the Bahamas when she was about 5 weeks old. And I got her at a dog rescue called Thrive in San Diego when I was down in LA last year. And then she was having a great time. And then we moved to Canada. So this Bahamian dog is looking at me like, why did you take me here? This is freezing. But no, she loves it. Actually, it's real kind of it's fun running around with her out in the woods. Do you want to take a walk outside and see? And I can sort of narrate where we're going.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I'm going to have to put on my polar. I'm wearing my my polar boots already. Yeah. They're Baffin boots. They're these really good Canadian snow gear.
He's already in full snowboarding gear.
Leave Charlie here. You can stay here inside, Charlie.
Waiters.
And we're going to take a little walk with Adam Carolla and friends.
Here we go.
And got to remember my mitts. But it's actually really kind of quite chilly today, Adam. It's I moved to like a old log cabin from it was built in the 1800s, actually. We've got a wood stove burning.
Badass.
Wow.
And my brother Joe here. My dad. You've seen my dad before. My dad is here.
Wow.
You remember my dad when I painted his house plaid?
Yes.
Yeah. You remember Adam? Yeah. Say hi to Adam, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
I'm going to take everyone outside on a little walk. Charlie, you stay here, okay?
I think
Charlie's wearing a few layers.
Oh, now we just had a lockup.
Well, they froze.
Unfortunate, because we were going to see a Winter Wonderland.
Well, hopefully it'll kick back in. I don't know if Dad and brother are visiting or Dad and brother live there.
You said close to the family, probably maybe a little vacation.
Seeking shelter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still?
Oh, there he is.
You're back. Wow.
Oh, boy. Desolate.
Snow everywhere, but I think the connection's bad.
Yeah. And a lot of the country is like, yeah, we get it. We see this outside too. But here in California, this is a big deal.
I like the Tom Soldier's on. Maybe it's going from Wi-Fi to us.
Yeah.
It's 75 out here today.
It's nice 75 day. Below there.
So it might. So it's had a 100.
Yeah. 100-year-old tree. I'll interpret for you. Oh.
So okay.
We really can't hear you too much. Okay.
All right. We're going to have to pot him down and then bring him in or something.
Oh, you can't, huh?
Well, now we can. A little bit.
I admire the effort.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
He had a plan.
Ambitious.
Yeah. I rarely walk outside during interviews, but I
literally walk outside during every interview.
I do.
No, you
have no signal in the house. You're walking around.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I do have bad signal. That is true. Tom's locked up. It's weird. I would like to yell at technology, but he's in Canada and we're in Glendale. And
we're doing this.
Traipsing through the snow in Canada. Yeah. That's pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Get anything.
He has quite the Randy Quaid beard.
Oh, very Quaid, yes.
Yeah.
I do. I just think. Also, another thing I think. Oh, he's gone back in the house. I think seasons are a good thing.
Sure.
I think.
You didn't grow up with those.
I think living in a seasonless place is tough. I don't know about tough, but I just mean, there's something about seasons.
All right.
Oh, so there you are. You back? No, it didn't work. But that's all right.
It was a valiant effort.
It sure was.
Tom, I don't want to ask you.
Am I back?
Yes. In front of your dad or brother or anything, but what's the social life like? Are you dating?
Personally, right now at the moment, it's me and my dog Charlie pretty much right now, Adam. That's about what we're dealing with here. But there's I'm sure I'll end up finding a nice person someday.
What is your status? Maybe it'll be hard for you to answer this, but status in Canada versus status in California or the United States. Tom Green.
My status, I'm not really sure. It's probably about, are you talking about like, do I get recognized on the street more?
I mean, are you like a national hero in Canada?
I think it's probably, I think that might be a little bit of an exaggeration to say that. Yeah.
Is there a Tom Green Day?
No, I don't think there is actually. They might have had that in Ottawa once, to be honest with you, on my birthday a few years ago, but that's my hometown. But, it's interesting because the show in Canada, the Tom Green Show back in the day, was always kind of a underground sort of public access show. And then when it got picked up by MTV, MTV is huge, but we didn't have MTV back in the day in Canada. So a lot of the Canadians didn't see the MTV stuff. So it's probably about the same, I guess.
How did, I think you recently reunited with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
How did that come about in the first place? You guys were married for just a little over a year, right?
Yeah, Drew's got a new show, and she's doing a daily talk show, and we hadn't talked in many years, probably 15 years. Hadn't seen her since the day we broke up.
Wow!
But she asked me to come on her show, and I've done her show 3 or 4 times now, and it was really fun. And it's kind of it was definitely an interesting television moment because on a personal level, it's interesting to reunite with your ex-wife who you haven't seen in 18 years on camera in front of a live studio audience. It almost felt like that was probably almost like the way it should have gone, because so much of our life was so public when we were together anyways. It kind of made sense that way,
Well, you guys, I don't want to pry, but
let me pry anyway.
Well, you seem like a very affable, nice person, and she seems like a very affable, nice person. Now, sometimes you hear about these couples and they're both crazy alcoholics and they're rageaholics and whatever, and it's not going to last 10 minutes. But I feel like you guys should have made it 5 years just based on how nice both of you are.
Well, that's nice. Yeah. It was an interesting time in my life, certainly, and her life too. We were both very young. We were in our 20s when we were married, and I had just gone through cancer myself. So I was going through cancer. She was directing producing her movie, Charlie's Angels, which is where we met. So I guess it was just probably a lot to handle for 2 young people at the time. So
you had testicular cancer, right?
I did. Yeah. They took my right testicle. I still have the left one. It's the middle one now.
Oh, you didn't get a nudicle?
I didn't. No, I was given that option, and I turned it down because, everybody's getting these fake nuts these days.
An implant.
And you guys, didn't your home burn down, if memory serves?
Yeah, it did. That did happen, actually. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. There was a lot of stuff that kind of happened in very short succession, which did make it probably it put a little bit of pressure on the relationship for sure. My father had cancer at the time. He's here with us today, so that's great. He survived that. I had cancer. We had the house burned down, and we were both in the middle of sort of a lot of exciting things professionally that were really going well, but also a lot to deal with. And being a young guy, I was in my 20s. Honestly, I was a little overwhelmed, frankly, by everything going on. It was kind of hard for me to kind of really process a lot of the stuff that was happening in my life, even the good stuff, like, I don't know if this happens to you, Adam, but like, I bet you it doesn't actually, but I would get really nervous, like I would get a lot of anxiety. You seem like a really confident guy. I was a little bit more of a, I would get a lot of anxiety when I had to perform or go on a show or do something that was out of my comfort zone. Like I got to host Saturday Night Live. So I was virtually, terrified for months leading up to that, So, and I think I would try to disguise that anxiety by sort of pretending that I was really confident. And having been kind of new to the entertainment business and being in Hollywood and all of this stuff, I don't know, I think I probably miscalculated a little bit of, when I'm supposed to be acting confident, when I'm supposed to be acting just like a normal person. And I didn't really know how to behave. So it was a stressful time for sure. I'm sure that probably contributed to things not working out with Drew and I. But the good news is that we're friends now, and I'm really happy for her and her new show. It's doing really well. It's a syndicated show, the Drew Barrymore Show. It's on every day, and she's hilarious on there.
How's your confidence level now, or how's that changed in terms of nerves or anxiety, performing and the such?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I always do get a good, healthy, I think, sense of nervousness before performing, even doing stand-up. Even if I'm doing a set, at a small club, I get a sense of anxiety before. I find that healthy, because that kind of gets my mind kind of going a little sort of at a higher rate, and I start really kind of replaying and playing back all my jokes and all my bits in my head. But I think, though, having been through all of that, got a bit older now. I just turned 50, this year. So I think I kind of have a little bit of a better understanding of a lot of that stuff. It's I'm confident with what I do, but I think sometimes you can be overconfident, and that can be a problem. So I think I've found myself in a really good, healthy place right now with that.
Yeah, there's a balance between a little sense of urgency of not to fuck up when you're on stage or whatever, that makes you kind of focus a little bit, do your homework a little bit, and then crushing anxiety, right, which fucks you up completely. I think it's about the same for like a first date. Meaning, you definitely, pluck your eyebrows and wash your one nut,
think twice,
and all that kind of stuff. But
always wash the one nut. Yeah.
But don't talk too fast and be overwhelmed at the thing. But a little sense. I'm bothered. I am bothered way more by the performers who don't seem that interested in performing. Like you've had these guys as guests on your show, or you see them do stand-up sometimes, and it's like a little sense of anxiety, a little sense of urgency, like a little sense of immediacy. Yeah. But it's nice when you can strike a balance.
Yeah, I find anytime I've ever gone into a performance of any kind with no nerves, not feeling nervous beforehand, which is not that often, but occasionally I've sort of gone into it and not thought about it in advance and not had that nervous energy. I find it hasn't gone as well. I feel like that nervous, but that's the thing about doing stand-up. I haven't done stand-up it's in a year and a half since COVID, and I'm going to start again this year. I love it and I miss it. But one of the things I don't miss about doing stand-up and touring is that sort of constant winding up of anxiety that I get, because I always sort of anticipate the show. So if I know I have a show next weekend, or if I'm going to do a road gig or something, the entire week I'll just be sort of slowly winding up to get ready to get up on stage and release, whatever it is that I'm going to do. I'll be thinking about all my new jokes, and I'll be trying to remember my new material and remember the lines for whatever new things I'm going to do, and reorganizing it all in my head, and all that kind of brain activity, kind of creates a little bit of stress in my life. And to have stopped doing stand-up for a year now or so, and now been sitting out here in the middle of the woods, it is pretty relaxing. It is kind of nice to take a little break from it. I'd actually say to anybody who's been touring and doing stand-up constantly for the last 20 years, like, nothing wrong with taking a year off now and then. I think it really is kind of a nice way to just kind of reconnect with what it's like to be normal. Not getting up on stage every night.
Well, the whole environment, the touring environment, whether it's the airport or the Uber or the hotel or the club, it's all the opposite of ice fishing with your drunken neighbor.
Absolutely it is. Yeah,
opposite. Yeah. SNL, I would have anxiety hosting SNL. I would be nervous to host SNL. And I totally could see that, because when you go do a show, it's an interesting thing. though it makes sense. If you do a show that you're a fan of, you're nervous.
Sure.
You do that. This is why you get all those American actors showing up on Australian TV drunk.
Graham Norton.
They're like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know anyone who watches this shit.
Jules Holland.
I've never seen it, and that's what happens. So, SNL experience. What year was that?
That was probably the year 2000, I think, not 99, probably 2000. Yeah, I mean, I could tell you a lot. I'll tell you some stuff about that was, definitely interesting and on topic with what we're talking about. So I had just probably about a year earlier, a little less than a year earlier, actually, less than a year earlier, had just gone through my cancer surgery, which was not just to remove my right testicle, but I also had this lymph node dissection and was kind of, pretty invasive sort of abdominal surgery. And, it had a pretty big impact on me physically for quite a few years. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but I was basically, very tired. got very tired and easily for a few years there. And, also it affected my mood. It changed my personality a little bit. And all of a sudden I was, here hosting Saturday Night Live. Now, Saturday Night Live, they do, it's crazy how they do it, but you go in the week of and you're writing with the writers overnight. For some reason, they keep everybody up all night, so you're working till 6 a.m. every day. And I was very tired. It's a highly competitive environment too. You can sort of tell some of the cast are kind of a little bit sort of, I don't know, everyone's fighting to get their bits on and stuff. And I had a couple of friends of mine who had worked on my show with me, and I'd asked, hey, can these guys come in and help out, And Lorne Michaels said, of course, yeah, and they could come in. So my buddies from high school who were working on my show with me came in to help me write some bits. And I guess I find out years later that some people were offended that I brought my own writers, but really it was just a couple of my buddies that I brought because I wanted to share the experience of being on Saturday Night Live, So there's all this stuff that's going on. And then at the same time, and this was what was kind of weird about it was I was doing this crazy show, right? The Tom Green show was pretty weird show, right? And I was always trying to put pressure on myself to really push the envelope, with whatever I did. If I could go on Jay Leno, I'd go on and flip over the desk or something, just like it was. I felt like because I was sort of out of my element on Saturday Night Live, I felt like, I have to make this really crazy. And I think it was definitely a weird episode for sure. But I often think, man, wouldn't it be cool to be able to have done Saturday Night Live where, I had sort of the maturity level and understanding of the business that I have now, that I didn't have at the time, But it was still a great experience. It was a wild show, and I did have a lot of fun, and it was a real honor to have done it for sure.
Who was in that cast? I'm looking at Brian.
2000.
Well, Tom would know, but I believe it was when they went over to the Will Ferrell era. Was that when you were there?
Yeah, it was Will Ferrell. It was Jimmy Fallon. It was Tina Fey. It was Chris Kattan.
All stars.
Anna Gasteyer.
But they were all brand new.
Sands. Tracy Morgan. A whole bunch of, I remember it was just sort of to me, it was overwhelming thing, you're in there rehearsing and all these sort of New York sort of, elite Hollywood people were coming and going through the rehearsal, and you're sitting there kind of, in a bald eagle costume. And I remember Harvey Weinstein walked into my dressing room one day and just started looking at me. And I was like, who are you? It was a weird vibe, man.
He was looking at the potted plant next to you.
That's true.
Yeah, I was lobbing that up there for you guys.
Thank you.
Tom, the entire cast was relatively new. Well, I'm just wondering if at the moment, did anyone stick out to you, male or female otherwise? I was like, oh, this person is really good. I can see them going on to do great things. When in fact, many of them went on to do great things.
Yeah, pretty much all of them, huh? Yeah, I mean, well, everybody was great. I mean, I had met Will Ferrell before because I'd been in the movie Superstar, very brief moment in that movie, but I'd worked on it for a few weeks. It shot in Toronto, and I had done that a few years earlier. And so I kind of gravitated to him, and we did some pretty wild stuff though. Like some of the sketches that, I wrote, I mean, I don't know if you call it writing when you say, hey, let's put eagle costumes on, walk into the audience, chew up carrots and then spit them into each other's mouths. Let's do that, Will. Okay, let's do it. But he was game. So we did some pretty gross stuff.
Tom, let me give you a plug. The YouTube channel, Tom Green, and also the website, tomgreen.com. When do you think you're going to be out in L.A. next or ever?
I'll be coming back for sure, throughout, the, next year for sure, or this year, I'm just going to get through settling in here. I want to come back and do some spots and see you down at the Comedy Store. And it's always fun hanging out with you down there, Adam. And I'm actually on a new show up here in Canada that's going to air on Amazon Prime called Last One Laughing, which is really fun, which is premiering next month. And I think that's available internationally. But it's a really funny improv type show that Colin Mockery and Dave Foley and Caroline Ray and a whole bunch of really awesome people are on. And basically you go into a house and a bunch of comedians in a house and everyone has to try to, be the last one laughing. And it's an improv show. It's really fun.
Good luck on all endeavors, Tom. Always great to catch up with you. And yeah, when you're back in LA, come find us.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. Thanks. I'll probably be crashing on your couch if you don't mind.
No problemo. The great Tom Green. All right, Dan Dunn is mixing some stuff up. He's got a mixologist with him this time. We'll take a quick break. We'll talk to Dan right after this.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
You're gonna do something or you staying directly.
If you said Tombstone,
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
Well, guest of the year, Dan Dunn, has joined us, along with mixologist Paul Sanguinetti, who's mixing over there dutifully as Dan is bringing in the libations. Just so you don't think this is a drunken tirade, I'll go on a pre-drunken tirade because I was just talking to Gary in the other room during the break, and we're getting this Gavin Newsom stuff back together, and Newsom's appalled at all the train robberies that are going on out here.
He noticed.
Who's in charge here?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so he's given a speech about this looks like third world. What's going on in this town? Welcome. And but I've told you that he's a fucking neutered pussy, right?
Yes, you've mentioned it.
Implied as much.
He's a fucking 100% puss. And listen to this speech. All right, so this is him. When the politicians put on the ball cap, that means it's roll the sleeves up, regular guy.
Chair backwards.
I got kids too.
Yeah.
I live in this city, or this state. All right, here's the speech. Enjoy.
Just mark my words. This is not one-off. This is organized theft. These are organized gangs of people that are coming out. And forgive me for saying gangs. I know that's not a pejorative. They're organized groups of folks. Just mark my...
Wait, what?
You want to solve crime? You need a puss who calls folks that are robbing trains organized groups of folks.
He was apologizing if he offended anyone for saying gang.
Wow.
He said gangs of people. Just gangs of people just means a group of people.
Possibly up to no good.
A gang is bad. Gangs do bad crimes.
Shots
gang,
fired.
The gang's all here.
You hear that, C-13? You guys better never leave your house.
He might apologize to you.
Does anything... How much less confident could you be in this person solving a crime or this problem when he can't even get through his pussy speech without stopping in the middle and apologizing for saying gangs of people and then say groups of folks?
Oh, boy.
What the fuck? What is it? Who is this guy? Why we want him running? I mean, he's fucking up California, but is this what we want? Why do we want this guy? Groups of folks?
Maybe
what
he's
a
trying to make
puss.
people feel safe.
Yeah, they're voters too.
Because like if I was out there and
guess
I'm like,
so.
oh, there's gangs out here, I'd be worried. But if I'm like, it's just a group of folks.
Kindly folks.
Yeah, I got hit upside the head with a lead pipe, but it was by a folk.
It was a folk.
It was a folk.
It's a good day to drink.
Yeah.
All right. Groups of folks. All right.
Somebody needs a drink.
Oh, God damn. Jesus Christ. This guy runs California.
Yeah.
He's
and
such a fucking puss.
Brian, you may remember this from
Thank
when
you.
you were a little girl. There was a show on TV for kids called the Get Along Gang. So we can call them gangs.
They're a model.
It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Don Knotts movie called the Apple Dumpling Gang. Jesus fuck. He's worried about who's he offending? Gangs?
Who's gonna take him down?
Warriors.
Oh God damn.
Cancel.
Let me hear that one more time. Just to be nauseated.
Finally got some booze out of
Groups of folks.
Just mark my words. This is not one-off. This is organized theft. These are organized gangs of people that are coming out. And forgive me for saying gangs. I know that's not a pejorative.
It is.
They're organized groups of folks.
God damn it. Oh God.
I think that people playing like pinochle down at the local rec center is an organized group of
Around the
folks.
55-gallon drum on fire, singing doo-wop.
Yeah, that's right.
Leather
Well,
jackets.
he's just instilled fear into the heart of anyone who ever thought about pulling an Amazon package off a train.
Yeah, they'll think
that I
twice.
can tell you now. Organized groups
They're
of
organized.
folks. So worried about the fucking verbiage. Meanwhile, the place is a shit show.
It's perfect, though, isn't it?
It's a perfect snapshot of the time we're living in. There's homeless everywhere. There's trash everywhere. There's crime
scene.
everywhere.
Yeah.
He's at a crime scene, and he's worried about the verbiage so as not to offend the gangs. Yep. All right.
Wow.
As
We're upside
reigning
down.
guest of the year, I'm going to sit this one out because I don't want to offend anyone. I'm trying to broaden my appeal now.
But Dan, you got to defend your crown,
to
man.
the folks out there,
you
all the
gotta-
folks
No,
drinking
man.
and listening.
I disagree. You got to raise your game.
Yeah, you gotta double
dive
down.
in on the controversial
Well,
topic.
we have to ask about the VR goggles.
How they doing?
I haven't used them in a while.
You haven't?
Yeah, it's a New Year's resolution.
Oh, really?
I'm trying to only masturbate to my thoughts. Yeah.
Oh,
No
really?
visuals. Yeah.
Hero.
That's it. I'm trying to get in touch with myself in a different way this year. So,
That's interesting.
Adam, would you borrow another man's VR goggles? Because it sounds like there's some up for grabs.
Well,
got to use set.
well, they're not in the business.
It's not the goggles you got to worry about. It's the hand things. Yes, those are gnarly.
We have
I
Lysol.
want to touch those.
all right, so what are we drinking, Dan?
All right. Nice to see everybody. Happy New Year. Here's my idea. We're calling this Wet February, okay? If you took the month off, I brought in 3 spirits that you can treat yourself with come February. Or better yet, if you were smart enough not to even bother taking the month off, you can treat yourself right now. We got Michter's bourbon, we got Siempre tequila, and we got Don Q rum. But I do want to ask you, Adam, don't you think dry January is kind of the height of arrogance?
Well,
it's like, you know, these
Foisting your
people,
sobriety.
they're just like, I don't have to stop drinking because I have a problem or anything. I'm just going to because I do CrossFit and I carry around a moleskin and I pronounce it Barcelona, even though I'm not Catalonian. Like, it's those people. They're the people that do
too
dry
many
January.
movements in
Yeah.
general. That's my feeling.
It's
you
that-
don't want to drink, don't drink. Now shut the fuck up.
Shut up. And it's like, and the other thing is, like, if you're going to quit, like, January's the worst month to do this. You got all the NFL playoffs. You should pick a month where nothing's happening. Like,
This is a good point. These are not football watchers.
They're not. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're not.
Yeah. But
And
I
is
just
there
feel
31 in January?
31 days. February would be a good day.
Yeah, you gotta
28.
pick a shorter-
Not a lot going
Yeah,
on.
February.
I don't know.
You know what we should do? We should give Black History Month, we should give them January.
They should get it.
And then the boozers should
Yeah.
take over February.
That's good.
Because they're always saying, we get the shortest month.
That's
All
right.
right, fine. Take
Okay.
January.
Okay.
And then we'll take the booze off on February.
There you go.
That's smart.
I don't know if you guys know any black leaders, but let's see if we
Let's
can
get in there and
broker
do
that
this.
deal.
They
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah, okay. So here we go.
Oh, speaking of they listen,
Yes.
I was crossing the street the other day over by the other shop, came upon a middle-aged black man sitting in a sedan. It stopped at the four-way, window down, I heard my voice coming from inside the vehicle.
Wow.
It was confusing to me because I had an earbud in and I was talking to somebody on the phone,
He
but I was
cloned
still
your
hearing
phone.
and maybe a little out of the demo, but just a middle-aged brother driving through Glendale listening to the pod.
Please tell me you gave him a thrill.
I did. I waved at the guy. He was like looking at me. It was like, it's happened to me a couple of times where I've heard me coming out of a car window. So
That's great.
Good.
Good on you.
Sorry,
Let's drink
Dan.
to that.
No,
Go
that's
ahead.
okay.
Yes.
You know,
What are we drinking here?
Michter's.
as guest of the year, I understand. I mean, I understand the pride that you take in being on there. I didn't feel this until I was named guest of the year, and now I just go around telling everybody. I'm like, you know, even if I hear somebody that remotely sounds like you on the radio, I say, oh, that's, I was guest of the year on that show. And they're like, this is Joe Rogan. Okay. Anyway, first up, very excited, and I knew Brian would be excited about this. One of my all-time favorite whiskeys in the world. We got Michter's. Michter's is such a phenomenal, and we're drinking the US1 small batch. Michter's actually goes back to the first distillery in these United States that predates the Revolutionary War. 1753 in Pennsylvania. Wow. It was a place called Schenk's. John Schenk was a Swiss Mennonite. He founded this distillery in Schaeffertown, PA. It was so popular, George Washington went to the Schenk distillery, loaded up on rye whiskey to take with the troops to Valley Forge so they could hunker down. So Schenk's was around.
This wins wars.
Wow.
Yeah, this wins wars. So Schenk's was around, then it got bought by a guy named Baumberger in the 1800s, and then Prohibition came around in the 1900s. Shut the doors, we're done. They opened back up after Prohibition, but it went through changes. And then in the 50s, a guy named Lou Foreman started the brand again, Michter's, and he named it after his sons, Michael and Peter. That's where Michter's comes from. Iconic brand, 80s, whiskey's in trouble. They go bankrupt. This brand that dates back, the very first distillery ever, is dead. Guy named Joe Magliocco buys the name for about $1,500, right?
Was it Michter's named recently or semi-recently with the two sons?
He named it in the 50s. His sons were Michael and Peter, so he combined.
But what was it? What was it called originally then?
Schenk's.
Oh, Schenk's.
And then Baumberger's.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when he renamed it Michter's, and again, it goes away. Joe buys the brand in the 90s, moves it to Kentucky, and immediately sets about making this like really an iconic brand. If you watch the show Billions, this is what they drink. Whenever they bust out the whiskey, Bobby Axelrod and Wags, that's what they're drinking.
What's
Michter's.
It cost a bottle?
This one's $50. Now, they also have whiskeys that go crazy expensive, including one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life. A friend of mine gave me a sofa, and we were going to trade out. I was like, I'll give you some booze and for a nice sofa, and I owed him about $1,000 on it. One day, I'd been drinking a little too much, and he was at the house, and I said, you know what, man? Take this. And I give him a 2018 Michter's 20-year-old. He's like, you sure? I said, take it. Just looked it up while I was researching today's segment. You know what it's going for? $8,500.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
You need a couple more
Do you still have the
couches.
couch?
And I gave it to him.
Do you still have the couch?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. All right, one of the things. So let's try. We're going to try this neat, and then my friend Paul Sanguinetti has made a cocktail for us. A new thing we're trying here. So let's try it neat. Let's get into this a little bit. Here we go.
Some of us
Cheers.
have been trying. It's quite delicious.
Now, one of the things Michter's does that's very unusual, they cut it from 138 to 103 before they put it in the barrel, okay? What makes that unusual is it's at lower proof. A lot of brands put the stuff in the barrel at higher proof because it goes further. They can stretch it. It's less expensive to do that. They don't. They don't cut corners there. And a lot of thing they do too is they're big on the barrel aging. They're one of the biggest innovators in Kentucky in terms of what they do with the wood. They in the winter they'll heat up the warehouse to pressurize. It increases the pressure in the barrel when the whiskey gets heated up and just basically forces it into the fibers of the wood to extract more flavor. It's great. And I don't know if you guys are getting this, but I'm getting the vanilla, the stone fruit, the smokiness, Michter's. And we also have a cocktail. Paul, what is this cocktail you've made? It looks great.
So Michter's is one of my favorite whiskeys. I used to be a big whiskey drinker, so I really love their US1 bourbon. The cocktail we're drinking right now is called the Smokin' Boulevardier.
Oh, shit.
So Boulevardier is a whiskey riff on the classic cocktail, the Negroni.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
delicious.
gin based, and we've seen like a lot of people really enjoying aperitifs like Campari and Aperol these days. Ooh. So this is like a way to enjoy whiskey but not have it be too high proof. So what I did was I took some cherrywood chips and smoked the Campari. So we have cherrywood smoked Campari with the U.S. Michter's one bourbon and some sweet vermouth.
It's good. What are we calling it?
I'm calling it the Smokin' Boulevardier.
It's nice.
It's dessert. It's delicious.
I went out to dinner with a friend the other night, and he ordered a paper plane.
Oh, that's a great drink.
What's
and
that?
I was like, I never heard of that. And he's like, oh, it's all the rage now. And I was like, it is? I've never heard of that.
What is it?
It's yeah. Go ahead.
It's kind of a modern classic, but it's very easy because the specs on the cocktail are equal across the board. So it's equal parts bourbon. I think it's Aperol, and then lemon juice, and then Amaro like Nonino. So it's kind of a low ABV shaken cocktail, very light and refreshing. But you still get enough kick from the bourbon. Is it
on the come? Is it a newer thing? Or are people getting into it now? He was like, this is kind of a thing. I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, it's like an ebb and flow. Like I saw like a lot of people. I saw it on a lot of menus before, and now I haven't seen it as much. But maybe it's coming back. And I think it depends on what city you're in.
Like if I go to Chili's and I ask for a paper plane.
You might actually see one.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say, well, Old Fashioned had its moment. You know, mojitos had their moment. What's having its moment right now?
I think lower ABV cocktails and healthier ingredients in cocktails is what I'm saying. So
more organic.
I'm able to do a lot of development for these chain accounts like Chili's. So I help develop recipes for them.
Oh, wow.
And I've done riffs on paper planes for some of them.
Oh, really? You're like Lorena Gonzalez, executive chef for Taco Bell.
That's right.
Yeah.
Know her name?
I'll take it.
I just mean you're probably overqualified for the gig.
Do you know Lorena?
No, I don't.
Could you get us, Lorena?
Was she executive chef for Taco Bell or what?
I think
that's
if you give me her info, I'll reach out to her.
Lorena Gonzalez.
Wait, she's the one who told Elon Musk to go fuck himself.
Who's the executive chef? There's a version. Yes, Lorena Gonzalez told Elon Musk to pound sand, but there's another
Lorena Garcia.
There we go.
Shit.
So close.
Executive chef for Taco Bell.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah, she's a chef for head chef.
Head chef.
That's got to be a good-looking business card.
I came up with the idea of putting cinnamon on broken taco shells and then selling them as dessert. That was me.
I got to shake your hand.
You see, one day we had all these broken taco shells.
And we didn't have anything for dessert. So as the executive chef, I intervened.
I pointed at them.
I said, hey, don't throw those out. Put cinnamon on them. We'll sell them as dessert. That's my move as executive chef.
By the way, I realized the miscalculation as I was doing this when you guys started firing all these questions at Paul. I'm like, I already made a mental note. No more mixologists.
He knows too much.
He's taking up my time.
That's true. You're guest of the year.
Pipe down over there, will you? All right, enough. Any questions for me? Anybody?
Well, I have a question, or it's interesting, or maybe.
What does Paul think about
Lorena Gonzalez?
Don't get me in trouble.
Does Paul use VR goggles? That's what we want to know.
No, here's what I want to. Here's what I want to say. I have gone to Home Depot for 30 years, beyond 30 years.
We get it. You love carpentry.
I love Home Depot.
Give Brian
when
more.
I worked, it was a carpenter. I go to Home Depot, and when you walk the aisle of Home Depot and you go to like plumbing fixtures, all the bathroom fixtures were like for shitty apartments. They just had low knockoff, it's just sort of low end.
The nickel plated.
It was all for apartments. Now they have nice stuff, more designer stuff, like better stuff. Now it's not necessarily stuff you're going to get at Snyder Diamond or like a real high-end place, but the tile, the fixtures, the lighting fixtures, like you can get good stuff at the Home Depot instead of just whatever the apartment manager stuff. And it struck me that like Chili's or whatever, maybe they're upping their game with like the drinks and the booze and the stuff, why not? I mean, if Home Depot people are like, I want to go to Home Depot, but I want good stuff. And they go, all right, well, we'll give it to you now. And maybe you want to go to Chili's and get a good drink.
Yeah, because it used to be that, just Diet Blue and people will drink it. But now I think we all kind of expect more.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, Paul's not allowed to talk now.
Paul, care to comment on that?
I dance, so I'm trying to be good.
Dan yanked his
It's
mic
fine.
cord.
No, it's fine. I'll just sit here. You talk, Paul.
No, but that is a great point. That's something that I see because we get what these things are called RFPs, requests for proposal, and I get them from these chain accounts. And what we've been seeing is there's actually a commitment towards using more fresh citrus juices, or maybe using ingredients that aren't so processed.
Wow.
And so it's actually really cool to see this happening on the national level with places where you may not have traditionally expected it, kind of like your Home Depot
Yeah,
reference.
so you're right.
Yeah, Home Depot, you can get nice tile, you can get nice fixtures, you can get nice sinks, you can get nice stuff where it was all just low-end rental apartment shit back in the day. All right, continue,
What's crazy
Dan.
about this is there's actually a Home Depot tie-in to what we're about to try, and I'm passing this over to you.
Really?
Next up, this is the Siempre Tequila Reposado, okay? And this is a great story. The guy named Alex LaCroix, Canadian guy, admittedly was having some trouble in his life, and about 7 years ago, he was in jail, got busted for something. He's in jail, and he's sitting in jail, and he's saying, he made a vow to himself, if I get out of here, I'm going to quit screwing around and I'm going to do something with my life. He met his wife, Monica, whose family's from Mexico, and they scraped together $9,000 and some credit cards, and they decide to start this tequila brand, Siempre. And he said they basically sold it out of the back of a van, and they would go to Home Depots, drive around.
Really?
Because guys are waiting, like, hey, you want some tequila? And the word started to spread within the Latino community that's how they were doing it. He's like, we're driving around to Home Depots and selling tequila out of the back of the van.
That's amazing.
And then
when he was in
tequila.
When he was in his prison cell,
yes,
and he said, if I ever get out of here, I vow to sell tequila out of a van in a Home
Illegally.
Depot. That doesn't.
That's not a lofty goal.
Reach for the stars.
I feel like that's why you're in there.
So let's taste this delicious Pruno.
Yeah, so maybe, but hey, it worked out for him. And the other thing, so what we're drinking here is the Reposado, and we've talked about this before with aging of tequilas. You've got the Blanco, which generally doesn't get any time in wood, but it could be between up to 2 months. Reposado, which means rested, is anything that's aged 2 months to a year in wood, and then Añejo is anything over a year. What's interesting about this brand, Siempre, is they release the Blanco first, which you normally do, and then they usually come out with the Reposado, which is the next level up.
Because the Blanco's the youngest.
Blanco's the youngest, Reposado is the next youngest. They didn't do that. They came out with the Añejo next, and the reason for that was this. They had the tequila in barrels, and they ran out of money. So they could not get it bottled, right? So it just sat in the wood and it became an Añejo. And then they finally scraped together more money. They released it. And then the brand just kind of took off. And now they're doing really well.
Wow.
And I think what do you guys think of this?
Extremely smooth.
It tastes like a high-end pool party.
Yeah.
Yeah, tequila,
Gangster style.
you would have to kind of hold your nose and muscle it down.
this is nice.
This is flavorful and nice. How much is this a bottle?
Do you want to guess? I know you like to guess these things.
I do.
All right, we'll go around the
Why
the
would
table.
I ask if I like to guess?
We'll go around the table.
Okay.
Brian?
40 now that they can afford bottles.
Okay. Now they get Gina.
I'll price is right, Brian. I'll say 45.
But Dan, what if I met a fan and I said to her, "What is your name?" And she responded with, "Well, guess. I know you love guessing." I would be confused because it'd be like, I just asked you your name.
In the past, you've always been excited about guessing.
I say $47.
You're wrong. Damn it.
See,
Brian
that's why I
got it
don't
right.
like guessing.
Brian got it right at 40 on the nose.
It's a nice tequila.
It's a really nice tequila, right? I like the color on this. I like the taste on this. I think there's a nice little sweetness to it.
There's no wincing after it's not like a bracing shot. It's nice. It's drinkable.
It's fantastic. Siempre is great, and I don't want to take up too much of Paul's time, though. Paul, what was the cocktail that we have here coming out?
So I'm a big tequila fan. This cocktail's called the Mixed Blessings. So it's actually a mix of tequila and pisco, which is a grape spirit. And they really just play very well together. Tequila is usually like an earthy kind of spirit, and pisco's fruity like wines and grapes. So we have the Siempre tequila, which is delicious and a great story, as Dan just explained. So we have that with pisco, a grapefruit liqueur called pamplemousse.
Oh, Brian.
Oh, pamplemousse.
I love grapefruit. Brian hates grapefruit.
Wow, this is refreshing.
This is delicious.
Paul, can I ask you, I do mean this, garnish-wise, what's proper So you've got this nice grapefruit garnish. Do we pull it off and drop it in the drink?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that what you're supposed to do?
Can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Good.
You can give it a little squeeze so you get a little extra fresh citrus in there.
Do that, Brian. Get that grapefruit in there. Come on.
But then we
in my
also have
pour bucket.
local orange blossom honey syrup in there.
I taste the orange more.
Yeah, so the orange blossom
beautiful.
honey gives it like a really nice mouthfeel, and also honey's good for you.
There is nothing mixed about this blessing.
Yeah.
This is perfection.
This is a great
It's,
drink.
it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite cocktails,
This is
actually.
the most I've ever liked grapefruit.
Wow, that's
great.
a big deal.
I'll take that as a
No,
thank you.
no, by far. Yeah, I usually.
Hey, what do you think of my outfit though today? Do you like it?
Was there a grapefruit in there?
I'm just trying to take the,
Take the mic back.
If we
not for you, Paul.
if we pick a month where we don't drink,
Yeah.
shouldn't we have a month where we drink twice as much? You know, just kind of balance, keep the universe in balance.
I propose August and September back to back. September's when football starts. NFL, college football starts in September. August is the dog days of Major League Baseball. Basketball, there's no basketball. There's
No drinking
football.
in August.
No drinking. Double down when football starts
Good.
in September. Labor Day.
You want to spread them out, though. I mean, like I feel like your liver could explode if you went dry for a month and then you doubled down.
Yeah.
That's a good
Should we
point.
Get the
'em
bends.
should we spread them out on the calendar a little
Smart.
bit? I'm just
But
saying.
you might forget. You risk forgetting to double down.
You're right.
So you can't take that
Yeah,
risk.
so let's back them up to each other. All right, we'll go August and September.
August and September.
Sorry,
All right.
Dave.
Well, I guess we're going to be doing some heavy segments come then. I'll bring in like 10 different brands today. This is great. I love
beautiful.
the cocktail. I love the tequila itself. As we said, it's $40. Nailed it.
It doesn't taste like alcohol, which can be dangerous.
Oh, in the mixed drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very refreshing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Have you guys ever thought about, I've been getting the notices on the Carolla family barbecue. What about having like a couple of signature cocktails this year at the Carolla family barbecue?
Paul, what do you think?
We can bring in
I mean, if Dan will let me,
Would that please you, Paul?
Then I would be happy to make drinks for you.
featuring
At the
Paul
Amazing.
Sanguinetti.
Yeah,
amazing.
let's do it.
Sorry, never
Dan,
mind.
it's sold
Forget that
out.
whole idea.
It's sold
No,
out, Dan.
forget that idea. Forget I said it.
I'll let Dan do the talking. I'll just make the drinks.
We'll just call it the Paul.
It's funny we're drinking tequila because Mark Garagos is coming in here.
Oh, no.
About a half hour.
Don Julio.
Is he going to turn his nose up at Siempre? Is he the what?
He's a Don Julio
he's
guy.
A snob.
This is what snobs be drinking.
He's brand loyal.
He's a Don
yeah,
Julio
that's-
man. Don Julio does not taste like tequila. That's
What do you think, Paul?
That's the
no, I'm
problem.
dead serious. What do you think, honestly?
With Don Julio, I think as far as the bigger brands are concerned, I think it would be my go-to for tequilas. If I'm on, but I think I think they still make quality tequila. And my favorite is the Don Julio 70, which is their Cristalino style, where they blend Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo, and then they charcoal filter the color out. So it looks like a Blanco tequila, but it's rested and aged. And I think it's one of their best expressions.
Which one's Mark's Don Julio? Which one? 8?
The 1942.
Yeah,
1942.
Yeah, that's what people love.
Yeah.
I've worked
Wow.
yeah.
You should have got served.
He got overserved and then he booted in the back of the nightclub.
I'm already having nightmares now. They're going to be like, hey, man, at the barbecue, I'm like, have you been over to the Sanguinetti tent? It's amazing. The guy knows his stuff.
When we had to go to like a unofficial PTA meet and greet in Beverly Hills for my stepson, they were serving Don Julio 19, whatever you just
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. For kids?
No, for
for
the
the
parents.
parents.
Oh, I was
People,
like,
that's
so want to
this is what
join
I'm
up.
telling you. The
Don't.
parents were in like Met Gala dresses. We went in jeans and like I had like a nice top. I thought they thought I was the staff. This was a very fancy Beverly Hills
Wow.
school event.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Before we move
get on
too
over
much,
there.
I want to acknowledge Paul's shade of that's what people like.
I think it's a great brand, and I got the opportunity to make drinks with their previous master distiller Enrique de Colsa in Vegas for a convention, and we ended up hanging out and playing like blackjack till like 4 a.m. and super fun, cool guy, and I have a lot of love for that brand.
People
But
like it.
obviously we're featuring
that's what
Siempre
you're
today.
Siempre today, which I like better.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. All right, so next up, our final spirit of the day, we're going with a rum that I discovered when I was in Puerto Rico many, many years ago called Don Q. And we're drinking the Don Q Reserva 7. This is a family-owned company that goes back 157 years. It's the
Damn.
number one selling rum in Puerto Rico.
Who's a leader?
This Don Q Reserva
Huge.
7 is a blend of rums that were aged a minimum of 7 years. You can do this neat, which we're going to do, and then we're going to have the cocktail with Paul. One of the things I find fascinating about Don Q is the pina colada, okay? The most famous probably the most famous rum drink there is. A guy named Ramon Manchito Morera is credited with inventing this drink in 1954 at the Caribe Hilton Hotel in Puerto Rico.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Just philosophically.
Sure.
As a people.
Yes.
We give almost as much credit to people who invented drinks as people who've invented life-saving medical devices.
And rightly so, man. Come on.
This guy, no one ever thought about putting coconut and pineapple together before this wife-beating alcoholic decided to do it. Well, we don't know the name of the guy who made the adjustable bed for hospitals. We don't know any of these guys.
The stent in your heart valve.
Right, we know Harvey Wallbanger's name. We're a bizarre society.
Is it Martini or Martinez? Either way, drink up.
Well, I happen to think they're more. I do hold them in higher regard than the guy who invented the convertible bed.
Until you need the pig valve in your heart.
We've talked about this on the show. Every drink, every big classic cocktail has at least 3 or 4 different stories about the provenance of the drink. But in this case, they actually got a document signed by the guy who invented the drink saying that he used Don Q Blanco to make that frozen pina colada. And of course, obviously the pina colada exploded in 1979 when Rupert Murdoch came out. What's his name?
Holmes.
What's his name? Holmes Murdoch.
Yes, Holmes Murdoch.
That's it. Let me have some more of this. But can I say something about that song, Pina Colada song? First of all, I think it holds its own against anything that Harry Chapin or Jim Croce did in the 70s. But the concept of that song is just incredible. It's batshit. The dude is tired of his old lady, and he's like, all right, I'm going to take out an ad in the personals, and he arranges this rendezvous with this stranger based on their shared love of frozen cocktails, and they meet only to discover that this mistress is his old lady. And you're sitting going, so does he get upset? Is he like, oh, is it coming on? Are we getting some pina coladas? Do they kill each other? No. They laugh it off. They throw back some pina coladas, and then they get it on in the dunes. And it's like, but marriage saved. Marriage saved.
How could they ever trust each other?
It's true.
They're taking out ads in the personals.
They're not into yoga. According to him, it all worked. It was like cats in the cradle. Yeah.
Yeah.
More bone.
Not into health food, not into yoga, just sitting around drinking blender drinks all day.
Getting caught in the rain.
Diabetes. You'd be morbidly obese.
Salud.
This is good.
But Paul's got a drink coming out in a second. The other thing about frozen drinks, what about the banana daiquiri? How do you guys feel about
Gone the way of the dodo. What happened to the banana daiquiri?
I feel like guys that enjoy the banana daiquiri are same guys that feel like it's okay to wear banana hammocks. Right? And I'm okay with that. I am because I think banana daiquiris are freaking delicious. And if you drink them, it means you're comfortable with who you are.
I don't know if I've ever had a banana daiquiri.
I don't think I have either. However, when I go to Hawaii every year, the nice thing about this movement towards the fresh ingredients and everything is they'll just throw whatever fruit they got in the kitchen into your drink. Like, let me get a margarita with mango or with pineapple or whatever, and there's just fresh fruit. It's awesome.
Forgot about the banana daiquiri.
It's a good one. It really is. And I think this rum, the Don Q, would be great. Here's the thing about drinking Don Q versus Bacardi. Bacardi tries to claim that they were responsible for the pina colada, which is BS.
We know that now.
If you go to Puerto Rico, everybody's drinking Don Q. By the way, it's short for Don Quixote. That's where they came up with the name. The other thing about the daiquiri, though, the banana daiquiri, as opposed to the pina colada. First of all, I think banana is a tastier thing than coconut. Agree, disagree?
I agree.
I can see that.
Banana is soothing.
Both
I feel
great, but banana.
And it feels more tropical to me, even banana than the coconut.
Interesting.
And maybe that's
wow.
maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah,
you think the banana's more tropical than the coconut?
Yeah, I'd rather have banana bread than coconut bread. That's
that I will agree with.
Okay.
I don't mean to rival guest of the year for being gross, but at this point, I think it might be the pamplemousse. Is anyone else feeling this kinda in their nether regions?
Oh my.
What?
Your loins?
Yeah.
Wait.
Hold on. Is this a COVID symptom that's left over?
Could be.
Because this is fantastic.
Long horse
What do you
syndrome.
mean you're feeling it in your nether regions?
This drink.
Oh.
I don't know.
All right.
I didn't make it. Ask Paul.
Paul's, Paul he works in mysterious ways with these cocktails.
Panty dropper.
And now we're bringing out another one. Oh, by the way, care to guess the cost The price on the Don Q
Don't
Reserve
tell
is
me.
7.
I always love guessing.
You do love it.
That's my thing. $37.50.
It's a full liter, so we'll go a few bucks higher at 48.
Let's say 57.
$25. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
That's a steal. Don Q, Reserve of 7, $25. Paul made us a drink. Briefly, Paul. And I mean briefly.
Wow.
Please, don't try to suck all the oxygen out of my balloon here.
You talked about banana daiquiris. Daiquiri is one of my favorite cocktails. This is a daiquiri riff called the Hotel Nacional, which is the famous hotel in Havana, Cuba, which I got to go to. But anyway, we have the Don Q 7-year rum with a little bit of cognac, apricot liqueur, fresh pineapple juice, lime juice, and Angostura bitters.
My God.
Nice.
So it's like a tropical. It's a
Cheers.
It's a drink you want to be sipping when you're in the Caribbean.
Jesus. That's
Oh
good.
my God.
And it's in a beautiful coupe glass. That's how you're serving. And by the way, Paul, you're going to put these recipes up
Yes, that's
on
correct.
what is it? At P-Funk LA?
Yeah, at P-Funk LA.
And I'll also be putting it on my account at The Imbiber, which is bigger than Paul's. I'm just saying, I do have more followers than you, right?
I heard.
You admit that?
Yes,
we admit that?
I do admit that.
Okay.
That's fact.
This is puckerlicious. This has a nice
is so
tartness
good.
to it.
It is so good.
How many different alcohols are in this, or just the one?
We have 2 alcohols and a liqueur, so 3.
Cannot taste it. Or maybe again,
Well,
that's
I
just
think
me and
you
my
can.
Okay.
I think you can.
This
So
is
good.
That's a winner. Now, using an aged rum versus an unaged rum, why?
I just think it goes better in the cocktail. Like some of the classic recipes will call for a white rum in this recipe, but I've always found that aged rums do better, especially because a cognac is an aged spirit. And it just gives a little bit more depth and complexity. And I love the Don Q 7-year rum. It's perfectly aged and has the right amount of roundness and barrel aging to really shine in the cocktail.
Damn.
Well,
This is fantastic.
they're all, one is better than the next, but it's like one's sort of smoky, the other is hearty, the other's refreshing, the other's perfect. These things
Beautiful.
are
Nice variety.
They're very variety.
Well
Great
done.
job, Paul.
Paul.
Great job,
To
Paul.
Paul.
Should I
Paul,
go?
you're here.
Well, do you guys want to have Paul in here to do the news now?
You
Next.
have thoughts on current events?
All right, we should take a break, and then we'll come back and do the news as best as she can do.
Indeed.
Right after this.
Well, we talked about Louie Anderson, very sad, but we do need to raise a glass and pour one out to another icon that even if Adam didn't celebrate him in his day, a lot of us did. Meatloaf, the musician who is known for his larger-than-life theatrical rock, he has died at 74. His family posted the news on his Facebook page just after 3 a.m. on Friday. It said that his wife, Deborah, daughters Pearl and Amanda, and close friends had been with him throughout the last 24 hours. He recently did have COVID, according to TMZ, but unclear what exactly that had to do with his passing.
I ran into Meatloaf. I didn't know Meatloaf, but I ran into him at Pat O'Brien's Christmas party.
That is a fucking Mad Lib.
Pat O'Brien used to throw a big Christmas party, like up in the hill, a big estate up in the hills. And Jimmy and I were going, and we parked the car, and it was like a gated community type thing. And we're getting out of the car, and the sort of Meatloaf was getting out of his car, and we're just sort of walking up to the front door, like at the same time. And that was my memory of meeting Meatloaf.
But you said he didn't really make it to the West Coast, like East Coast, Midwest. We were all very familiar with his catalog.
Well, I had a roommate that was from Philadelphia, as Dan Dunn is.
Yes.
And it struck me that, Meatloaf was not a big thing in North Hollywood. We knew Oingo Boingo and X and all these weird
Like
sort
punkish.
of California local whatever.
Right.
And everyone on the East Coast knew Meatloaf, but they didn't know who X or Oingo Boingo was. And so there was a kind of a regional thing. But Meatloaf, I think out of all the bands, all the big bands, and how many records and units were sold of, Meatloaf never got spins here in L.A.
That is odd. I mean, with giant hits,
Giant hits. And
ballads, rock anthems.
We got REO Speedwagon. We got Kansas. We got Styx. We got everything. We didn't get Meatloaf out here.
I grew up in the Bay Area, and when he has big comeback in 90, whatever it was.
Bat Out of Hell. Bat Out of Hell 2.
Whatever it was. That was kind of the first I'd heard of him.
Wow.
Right, that's the whole point.
Vaguely aware.
He didn't make it to the West Coast,
but he
which
made
is
it
weird.
But he made it everywhere else because I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that. Number 1 in 28 countries. And we had actually.
There's not 28 countries.
I beg to differ. There's at least 32.
I never heard of that.
Okay, well, we'll Google it.
Well, that's a testament to how much people don't like butt sex. Because isn't that what it's about? I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Yeah, that and Paradise by the Dashboard
Isn't
Light.
that what is it really about? But I won't do that. What is he won't do?
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, no, it's anal.
Yeah.
It's anal. It has to be.
You're right.
We reported on this too, I think, a few times. He started collapsing on stage a lot, suffering health conditions in his 60s. So not sure what the coroner says, but he will be missed by everyone not in North Hollywood.
Have you ever seen the video of him at the Mitt Romney rally?
What?
Oh my God. No. If you guys have this, if you can find it, he was at a Mitt Romney rally and they started singing. And I don't know if he was on something or what was going on. And it was the most uncomfortable thing you'll ever see. Mitt Romney's like, how do we get this guy off stage? And he's singing, but he was like he got on his knees and he was like, and he was like screaming. And Mitt Romney just was like, I might lose the presidency right now by having this lunatic on stage with me right now.
Oh my God.
Check it out if you go to YouTube and just find Meatloaf and Mitt Romney. It's very uncomfortable to watch.
He was in Fight Club, right?
He was bitch
here
tits.
it is right here. Look. Yeah.
Is that Kid Rock?
So he's behind him. No.
There he is. Yeah.
He jumps in at some point, and it gets.
He has his hand around.
Now, brother.
That's the dude from Alabama.
Oh, not good. Well, from sea. Well, from sea.
Wow.
It's pissed. Okay.
And Mitt's like, get me the fuck out of here right now.
I mean, has he heard of Meatloaf? He's a theatrical guy.
They never talk about the other guy. Like, I was watching, I don't know, you know when Biden introduces someone and he can't remember their name?
Indeed.
I always feel horrible for the other guys. Like, all right, our Rear Admiral of Defense, he's a good dude. It's like there's some stumbling, and that poor guy's just sitting there going, fuck, I'm not going to get I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel as bad for Biden as I do for the dude whose name and Mitt, I felt bad for that.
Yeah.
He had to paste that smile on.
What do you think Meatloaf was doing there?
I don't know. Like, who on the campaign went, you know what we need? If we really want to connect with the kids today,
right.
You know we got to get up on stage here? Meatloaf. Let's get him in. He's fresh.
Wait a minute.
And he doesn't
what
like
was his
anal.
name?
He will not take it. By the way, he represents family values. He will not take it in the ass. He said it in a song. He will do anything but that.
His last name was Aday. I'll tell you right now.
He was in Fight Club. Sorry if I missed it. I was editing
bitch
the drop.
tits.
He was Robert Paulson, and he had bitch tits.
Yeah,
He was great.
his real name is Michael Lee Aday.
Can I say this? Out of all the people where you know their real name, never knew Meatloaf's name. Never. It was just Meatloaf.
And I listened to this old interview with him on NPR or something, and they said, should I call you Mr. Loaf? He's like, call me Meat. Everybody calls me Meat.
Well, the story behind it is I've read this. He was a pudgy kid. He had a very abusive alcoholic father who started calling him Meat from the time he was an infant. And in a very derogatory way, meat. And then it was like, you're a piece of meat, you're fat, you're this. And that drove him to the theater. As it happens.
I get that.
There's two ways you can go with that. You can become a member of a group of folks that are out doing
ornery business,
tomfoolery.
Yep.
Or you become Meatloaf and you go to the theater and you channel that.
Well, Louie Anderson as well. Like you both had horrible dads, and now we hear you.
You know, there's a now very famous drag queen named Trixie Mattel who dresses like a Barbie, and it's because her either dad or stepdad, whoever he was, would make fun of him and call him Trixie to sort of belittle him because he kind of knew he was gay at a young age. And now he's a very famous drag queen named Trixie. Anyway.
Well, this is my Ferrari thing. Ferrari was a douche, and now we have Lamborghini.
Oh.
Ferrari was a douche, and now we have the Ford GT40.
Pressure on a diamond.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people have eating disorders and turn out to be pieces of shit. But every once in a while, we get a great artist or a great car.
That's right.
Better yet.
Can we raise a drink?
Yes.
One of Paul Sanguinetti's drinks. R.I.P. Meatloaf.
That's
and you know what
right.
that stands for? Rest in potatoes. Sorry. I've been saving that joke all day. I thought about it in the car.
Yeah.
Right? It's funny, right?
It's
R.I.P.
good.
Rest in potatoes.
Yeah, with
'Cause
vodka,
he's Meatloaf.
sure. And meatloaf, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked earlier in the show about lockdowns.
Guest of the Year titles in Jeopardy already.
Self-sabotaging. By the way, I'm Irish Catholic. I'm making sure that next year I do not get Guest of the Year. I don't want to.
One and done.
I want Sammy the Bull to get it next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about lockdowns and, craziness. Well, Austrian lawmakers have voted to require all residents 18 and up to get vaccinated. The requirement includes exceptions for pregnant women and people with certain medical conditions and people who recovered from COVID in the last 6 months. The mandate kicks off February 1st, and it's around a $4,000 fine.
Austria?
Austria, if they find out you have not been vaccinated. Meanwhile, and this is a very early, very small study, but UPI, on the science front, UPI reports that a small study suggested a link between abnormalities in cerebrospinal fluid and lingering brain fog in COVID-19 patients. So apparently the fluid of patients with cognitive symptoms have levels of elevated protein. It suggests inflammation as well as these unexpected antibodies found in their immune system. So it's not just a thing, be like, brain fart. Like it could be a thing. Yeah.
Austria is a good example of overcorrection. Like you guys gave us Adolf Hitler.
Indeed.
And you're doing everything the fucking opposite direction. Just go back to the middle.
But we also had Schwarzenegger, I think we're cool.
We're even.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made up for it.
Do you think the COVID, one of the long haul effects is that when you drink alcohol, it makes you feel it in your nether regions?
That's
possible.
possible.
I mean, you did say that earlier.
So I'm like,
it's a positive.
As you hear this, I'm like 5 days negative. So I am now into, like post-COVID symptoms, and maybe it's,
What did you mean by that, though? Seriously,
you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean. I really, you mean like it was exciting you to drink the drink?
Like it's like when you drink alcohol and it's like you feel it in your esophagus, you feel it in your chest. It just kept going south.
You know what's this is.
It's the greatest drink ever made.
It's really good.
If you're a fellow oncology patient, you've experienced this, please tweet my confirmation. But there's like a drug, like it's like a contrast or something for like an MRI or a CT, I think it is, or whatever it is. They inject it, and within 10 seconds, you feel it in your taint.
Really?
Yeah, it's like
It's
pins and needles.
taint-specific?
It's like pins and needles in your perineum.
Wow.
Or perineum?
Perineum, whatever.
Your grandmother
Yes,
would say
thank you.
perineum. There's I did like a barium flush or whatever the fuck that was, a dye, and they tell you in advance, you're going to feel like you're peeing your pants. You're not. But I showed them.
I was talking to Drew about the long hauler syndrome.
Because he has it, right?
He says he does.
Did he have it twice?
He's had it twice.
But he had the big kahuna. I just had the whatever. He had it early.
I was with Drew 2 Christmases in a row where he came down with it. Literally hanging out with him for 2 Christmases when he then tested positive like the next day. Or the first time, it was that night.
Oh my God.
It kicked in. That was a year plus ago. And then last Christmas, I was with him and he got it again. So we're talking about the long hauler syndrome, which is maybe a thing, but it's kind of like Epstein-Barr or chronic fatigue.
Hard to prove.
Yeah, so now we're going to have to figure this one out. Who are we going to cut checks to? Everyone got it. Everyone can claim long hauler syndrome.
Okay.
Right? You go, look, you can say my back's bad and get a paycheck.
Right.
Now I can't think.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like I've got brain fog. You know what I mean? So it's like there's going to be a big thing with disability and long hauler syndrome. And if 70 million Americans got COVID, Yeah, I think we figured out that many Americans are willing to get a check.
They wouldn't turn it down.
And who's to say you don't have a little brain fog, or you can't concentrate, or you can't remember
What's that you just said?
somebody's name? Right. So it's going to be a thing with disability and long hauler syndrome. And so there's fibromyalgia.
Yeah. It's a big one.
There was Epstein-Barr.
Yep.
There was chronic fatigue.
Adrenal fatigue.
We never really figured out whether those things were real.
Right.
But if we can't figure out whether those are real, we're never going to figure out long haul.
Right.
I think it's going to be tough for me to make that case. Can't really go to them and be like, hey, I drink for a living, and I'm suffering from brain fog.
Can't do my job.
I don't know what's going on here.
What are you going to do for
but
me?
I can't keep my head straight while I'm getting drunk on these.
But also, who are we going to talk out of this? Like, who amongst us doesn't wake up on any given day and go, whoa, I'm feeling a little something.
A little
I can't
fuzzy.
remember my address.
No, you're right.
Right.
But you know what you can prove? Getting vaccinated or boosted and having your period every 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I told you that was happening.
It's a loins thing.
Something's happening to me because
clearly.
I said that early on. I said that at the beginning of last year, and now I'm getting all the links everyone's sending me that there's a connection there. I'm not scared of it. It doesn't bother me. I wasn't insane.
Can we get Paul in here to see what he thinks?
All right.
You know what I'm going to miss the most about COVID when it's finally gone is I think we can all agree it truly is the greatest excuse ever created to get out of anything in the world. Anytime I don't want to do anything, I go, hey, by the way, I was around Gina Grad and she had COVID.
Gotta
so
hunker
I
down.
can't come to your thing. I want to get out of a date. Anything.
Let's share a glass.
I have had COVID like 35,000 times. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I got COVID. Can't make it. They're like, oh, I didn't go to my, I better not say that.
And you can be like,
I skipped something that was a family thing. And I was like, oh, I was around someone that had COVID. I can't come.
If you want to take the chance, I guess we could. No.
Thank you for coming to my wedding and not saying you had COVID.
Well, that one I wanted to.
Oh,
go
good.
To.
I
did
appreciate
want to,
that.
because I wanted to spend an hour in the car with the bishops.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Dan almost threw up on the back seat.
I almost did throw up in his car.
Really?
Yes.
Not from drinking. What was wrong with me?
There was the twist.
I was drinking the night before.
You know
That was
someone
it. Yeah.
gets quiet for a good 12-minute stretch on a road trip, and you're like, it's not saying much.
Well, we had to pick something up. He had to stop somewhere, and I was so mad at him because I was hungover and I'm in the back seat, and I get car sick
You were
anyway.
mad at me?
And I was thinking, I was like, why the fuck do we have to go pick this thing up? Because it's adding like 3 extra miles, and in those 3 extra miles was near your. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And then Brian's wife turned around and she was like, are you okay? Chrissy's like, are you okay? And I'm like,
keep driving.
let's just get there. Let's get to this wedding.
What'd you have to pick up?
I had to drop off a hard drive for the documentary.
Oh.
To an editor.
Ooh la
Or
la.
drop something off. It was extra. It was like an extra 5 minutes in the car.
How dare you.
That was really touch and go for me because I was like, what if I get sick before Gina's wedding?
That would suck.
I'm not going to be able to make out with anybody
That's
at the
right.
wedding. And I didn't. No one made out with me at the wedding. I was,
All right, next story.
Okay.
sorry.
This is one I've been holding on to, and I can't wait to share it. Microsoft has included a new function in the latest version of its Word software that acts as a checker. You know, and they have checking for spelling and grammar and punctuation. That's standard. Well, now they have one for inclusivity and offers PC alternatives to phrases which could upset others. I think our own governor used this in his last speech. So now, like this, after highlighting an inclusivity issue, Word's new functionality will suggest more acceptable alternatives. So instead of postman, you'll get postal worker. And they even alter famous quotes that happen the way they happen. So Neil Armstrong's famous quote, "One giant leap for mankind," has now been changed to humankind or suggested humanity.
Wow.
So
Rewriting the
Going
past.
George Lucas on history.
That's right.
My problem with all this bullshit, whether it's Newsom or Google, is when you correct something, you feel like you've satiated, you've
Right.
done something, you've
can all move on.
accomplished something. You know, you haven't accomplished jack shit. So you calling gangs folks doesn't accomplish jack shit.
Organized groups of folks.
Right, but it feels like you did something, and that's the whole problem. So it's all fucking lip service. We're just talking about, like, say this, identify that, bring this up, and it feels like, oh, I guess we did something. Like, oh, we named Mexicans Latinx. Okay, our work is done here. It doesn't accomplish anything. Look, this has been going on for a long time. We go like a rape victim, rape survivor. Oh, so you never got raped? Like, how's this work?
Right. Or the problem is not something.
How are we fixing this? How are we stopping rapes? Like, you're relabeling everything. It feels satisfying to you. We get nothing done. It's not homeless. It's unhoused. There's still a bunch of junkies flopped out on the street. Yeah, but they're unhoused. Oh, okay. So I guess we've solved the problem. So your kid's a junkie, or he's hooked on fentanyl or something like that, and you call him Steve, but I call him Steven. Okay, so now problem solved?
Yeah, address
we
him
just
properly.
changed his fucking name. It's a weird thing that's supposed to satiate people. I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you say satiate, and I understand the context you're saying it, but it makes the rest of us paranoid. Like, I'm a normal person. I don't say, I don't hurl racial epithets at people, and I'm going to be typing on Microsoft, and they're going to make a suggestion to me, and I'm like, did I do something wrong?
Ugh.
You know what I mean?
Though.
Like, it makes me paranoid.
That's a ancillary is the wrong word, but like a detriment, because people who want to help or want to be sympathetic or whatever are now scared to get involved in the discussion.
Yes, that's all it is. You're correct. Listen, your grandmother mean, my grandmother mean, do a lot of correcting, a lot of vocal correcting. I was always scared to talk in front of her.
Right.
Because she'd stop me every few seconds and go, you're not, no. You said solenoid. Like she literally she corrected me on solenoid
What is
versus
that?
solenoid. It's a part of a car, a starter.
What?
The
She
thing.
corrected you on a part of a car?
I said solenoid, and she stopped and went solenoid.
Wow.
Amazing.
Like she would
There's no
correct-
length she won't go to.
Eventually stop talking, which is their goal. Don't talk. I'll correct you every 9 syllables. That's how, and then they're in charge.
Dan, speaking of rum, I was telling my grandma once how much I love Pirates of the Caribbean. She goes, "It's Caribbean."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, Grandma, mate.
Right.
I thought it was Caribbean until the Disney movie came out.
I gotta
Doesn't
be
everyone
honest.
call it
I'm
Caribbean?
okay. I'm okay with this new Microsoft feature because I actually do put a lot of racial epithets in my writing.
you
And
might
then
need some
And then I'm
handholding.
like, oh, that's right. You can't say that.
Right.
And yeah, so it's really helped me out.
That's
a
probably
bunch.
for the best.
my
The
career's-
ride was always Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, but we always called
Always.
it Caribbean, but then, the ride and the movie, it's Caribbean.
I think it's Caribbean, right?
I thought it was Caribbean.
You may go to the Caribbean, but the ride was called Pirates of the Caribbean.
And you can no longer go through the ride and see a big, sturdy lady chasing a man.
Yes,
That's
you
right.
can.
Okay, wait.
What?
What's
She's back.
She's back?
I saw her last month.
Oh, boy.
What's the name of this town in the central coast of California? Pasorbles. How do you
Paso
pronounce that?
Robles.
Paso Robles.
Paso Robles.
Don't they? What is
Morons
it?
are called
Paso Robles.
Robles. That's what they say.
Robles.
There you go.
Robles. Yeah.
It's
No.
Paso Robles, but it's also
No.
Los Feliz, and don't fucking call it Los Feliz.
I
you
can't
call
get
it?
people to stop saying the PCH.
We got a lot of problems.
It is the PCH. Isn't
That's what I'm talking
You get
about.
out of here now, and you never
It's just
darken the store again.
PCH.
Strip of his title.
I bet Paul Sanguinetti calls it just PCH.
Let's find out.
Fine, let's bring him back in. Paul.
All right, one more.
All right, let's find you a good one. Okay, so imagine a fart that is so pungent it could cause you to lose your eyesight. It's possible, apparently, according to Dr. Anthony Yun. He's a holistic doctor in Michigan. I'm just going to let him explain this. This TikTok has really picked up speed.
Although this is very unlikely, if the gas you pass is extremely pungent, it could contain large amounts of hydrogen sulfide. Studies show that hydrogen sulfide is very effective in reducing blood pressure, and if it reduces blood pressure to the central retinal artery, your silent but deadly toot could theoretically make you go blind. So be careful if you're making a lot of bubbles in your bathtub.
Anyway, if Gina takes one more sip of that cocktail, we might all be in trouble. Because you said it's moving down, right? It keeps going.
Right. That's right. I'd never heard
Right.
this before. So this is something we should all be worried about.
All right, let's bring it home,
You
Gina
got
Grad.
it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. This is fantastic.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
All right, last but not least, there's Geico. Do you own, do you rent your home? Well, you do one or the other. I bet you work hard, too. Well, you know what's easy? Bundling your policies at Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your automotive policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. So go to geico.com. Get a quote and see just how much you could save and just how easy it is to save when you go to geico.com. So visit geico.com today and see how much you could save at geico.com.
This is fantastic.
All right, I want to thank Tom Green for coming in. Dan Dunn and Paul Sanguinetti. Paul's really the star of that.
Yeah, I can't wait to have him back.
What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn, that's the podcast, and Instagram at The Imbiber. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Dan and Paul, and that's right, Tom and Gina and Bald.
Brain fog.
Say it. Mahala.
But people always say, if you lose all your weight, it won't be funny anymore.
Yeah.
And I understand their thinking. I understand their thinking, but it always is, it still is, it's just, it's kind of a kick in the gut. You choose the place you're sitting in. If you choose to be depressed, you'll be depressed. You have to, like somebody said, oh, I feel like I'm laying in a swamp. Well, if you stood up, the swamp's only up to your ankle.